Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Penosofsky's newest tap room, offering 14 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beers, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and pub. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to come hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app. Is the exterior of your home or business covered in dirt, mildew, or mold? Driveway or walkway stain? Pressure King can make your siding, deck, vents, and concrete look new again with no damage. Pressure King has cleaned the exterior of houses and businesses all over Sumter County area. Usually it takes less than a day and costs less than you would expect. Call AJ at 352-457-7209. Welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm Billy Goble, your host, and today we have a special guest, a former Raider alumni and softball player, went on to Florida Gulf Coast University and then to the University of Florida to play some softball. Without further ado, we want to welcome Miss Marissa Mesiemore. Marissa, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. When you kind of go out there and do a session, you're hitting 100, 200 balls. You just got to dedicate a little more time. Yeah. Do it in a couple different sessions.
Right.
Yeah.
I think people make it seem like it's worse than it actually is. That's not just sports. It's work too.
The world.
You think about it, you're like, I don't want to do that. And you're like,
full of excuses.
It wouldn't kill you.
Yeah. They always say tomorrow never comes.
That's true. Well, I had a kid when I was subbing in middle school, and he was, I was at the drop off in the morning, and the kid got out, and I talked to this kid, and he said something about, something about tomorrow, and I said, well, tomorrow never comes, and he goes, what?
It cracks me up that the younger generation, they don't get the jokes and stuff.
He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, right. Do you ever see tomorrow? It never comes because it doesn't exist. In our mind it does, but there's not a physical day called tomorrow. It's now. And you can plan tomorrow. That's all you can do is plan, And it just blew his mind.
That's so funny.
You could see the hamster woke up and he was like, the wheels started turning.
Yeah.
It was cool. Kids like that.
I know.
Crack me up. Those are the kids I want to talk to. I'm like, hey, listen, I had a kid one time who told me, he goes, Coach Goble, we're going to give, it was a football player, he goes, when I go out there tomorrow night, I'm going to come out on the eye of the hurricane. And I was like...
So the calmness?
And I go, listen, you do realize that's the calmest part of the storm, right? He goes, oh. So funny. Yeah, it is. So let's focus on the right-hand corner of the hurricane. We'll say that.
Right.
So
that's too funny.
But so Florida Gulf Coast, your junior year now, you're gonna move on. Anything? Do you have any games that because you said you weren't senior and sophomore year, you kind of hurt. Junior year was
junior year was pretty healthy, going good. That was the COVID year, unfortunately.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. We were actually playing really, really good. We were doing good. We were winning a lot of games. Our record was good. And we were just fixing to start our conference play that weekend. Right. It was in the middle of the game week against FAU. It was our last game that we played that whole year. And I actually hit my first home run in that game. Cool. That was the last game, first home run, hit it. We won it because of that. So that was a cool moment. And then literally the next day we're meeting and we're done. Our season's done.
So I'm glad that we kind of got to that now, because I was going to say that earlier when you said 2020. Mm-hmm. But since you were in college at the time, what was that like?
It was it was such a surreal feeling. I mean, I always say it's like a fever dream. It almost like didn't even feel real at all. Mm-hmm. We were literally, practicing, playing, and all of a sudden we were getting brought into a room and be like, look, the country's shutting down. Like, this isn't even just, the NCAA, college, whatever. This is the country's literally getting shut down. And we were like, okay, well, should we go home and practice? Like, are we going to come back? And everyone's like, we don't know.
Yeah.
No answers about anything. And I'll never forget, like, looking around the room and seeing the girls that were seniors that year and them just, like, in shock. Because, they're already preparing themselves to play that last game. And they just, like, they couldn't even react almost. They were like, so I just played my last game. Like, I'm done. And it's so crazy. And thankfully, the NCAA gave everybody their fifth-year eligibility for losing, that whole season. Yeah. So that was good. And a lot of those girls did go play another year somewhere. I think only like one girl didn't. So that was a plus for them. But it was so crazy. And then when we all graduated, our president at FGCU, he was like, you guys are some of the most resilient people ever because you had to go through that hurricane where we had to evacuate. We had to go through COVID. I think there was something else. I can't remember what he said, but our generation and our year had to go through so many milestones and so many steps to get there. Right. All the school shootings that were unfortunately happening, they were starting to really go around and stuff at that time. So a lot of people had to go through that, and it was just crazy. It was a crazy feeling.
Yeah, I was going to tell you. I was going to bring this up earlier. Our cousin was at St. Leo. And she went on spring break. She lives in Virginia. Mm-hmm. She was at St. Leo, goes on spring break, COVID hits. Nobody goes back. So, of course, they want all her stuff out. Mm-hmm. So they asked us to go and get her stuff. And you want to talk about old buildings? St. Leo's got some old buildings. There's not even an elevator.
They're expensive.
Oh, they are.
It's an expensive school. They should redo them.
They absolutely. Now, don't get me wrong. The dorms were nice inside, but the structure itself was, There was, like I said, nothing but stairs. So my mom and I, we went over to St. Leo. It took us a couple trips. And we went over there and found you talking about a mess. Trying to find someone that knew where we should go and this and that. And finally got her all moved out and moved all her stuff. We ended up taking her to her halfway. She met us halfway down, which was cool. And don't get me wrong, the whole experience was, but it was just man, I know I wasn't the only one that had to do that. There were tons of other student athletes because they had I get it. They wanted you to be out because summertime. Yeah, they're like, well, you're not coming back. Yeah, and. So I mean, it was just weird. It
was very weird. Obviously, we've never experienced anything like that before, ever. And we had quite a few girls from out of state. That from FGCU, one of the girls lived in Connecticut. I remember, and another girl in California. They were having to find flights right away and stuff. And I don't even remember how their stuff got moved out. I think that thankfully they had other roommates that were from Florida, so I think they kind of just took their stuff and put it in storage for them. But
gotcha.
It was crazy feeling. Even I had to go move my stuff out. So me and my dad and uncle just kind of loaded up and went down there and got everything out. But
I was gonna say, what about those people that you said foreign people? What did they do? Because I don't think you could fly out of the country.
It's a good question.
Wow, that's weird.
I know. I'm trying to think. Cause I knew a lot of them. I don't know. I never asked them, but
it was a different.
It was a different time then, for sure.
You look back on it now, and I remember when it first happened. I remember going to the grocery store with my mom, and she's like, "Well, we can just go ahead and start getting a bunch of things." And it was almost like hurricane.
Yeah.
We didn't know what was going to happen.
The toilet paper shortage.
Oh my gosh,
that was so crazy.
That was ridiculous. Toilet paper.
Water,
any kind of hand sanitizer.
Oh my gosh, there was no hand sanitizer.
Yeah, I remember there was a guy in Webster who was selling. He was across from the flea market. And he was selling toilet paper, hand sanitizer, alcohol, all this. Yeah. I think he might have stole a bunch of stuff. And he had a little. It was inside. It was like a little shop, and you walked in there, and it was and it wasn't it wasn't expensive, but it was not cheap.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, oh my gosh, $13 for a 4-roll. No.
Right.
Well, hey, supply and demand.
Exactly, right.
No, but it was like, you walk in there and it's got, I mean, the guy was trying to be helpful, but there's no telling where he got him. No. He might have been one of those guys that had a warehouse full of toilet paper and they're like, if the feds come knocking, you better be out of there.
Right.
Don't be there when we get there.
Exactly.
So I'm sure he loads some. I'm just kidding. I don't even know the guy, but anyways. But yeah, it was just weird. It was a weird time, and I mean, there was a lot of people that experienced the same thing we did, but it was just, I don't know. I was thankful to be in Florida because Florida didn't completely shut down like some other states.
Yeah.
And I think it could have been a lot worse.
Could have.
Very fortunate.
Yeah.
And whatever spectrum you believe on, this or that, or politically, I'm just glad we were in Florida.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
we're so much more like spaced out here, so to say.
Yeah, I mean,
I think like New York and all that.
Like the bigger cities.
Yeah.
I don't know how it was in Miami and Tampa. I mean, Tampa's not really. I mean, it's a big city, but it's spread out. Miami's the only one that's really kind of closer. I guess
there was quite a bit of outbreaks down there.
Yeah,
I remember all that.
Just a lot more people down there. But I mean, we went to Vegas, and this was like a year after COVID, and coincidentally, this is on the last podcast when Zoe was here. But we were out there with Zoe. They were having a national championship out there in. Yuma, Arizona, and we were out there at the same time. But we had to wear the mask on the plane and everything. And so when did they bring you back?
So that was like March, I want to say, when all that was going on, when all that stuff stopped.
Early March.
We moved out everything. I would say April is when they let us come back and move everything out, clean out our lockers, stuff like that. And then we had to show up like the last 2 weeks of July, I want to say, because they had to test us and we had to be there for like a week or two to see if we got it and stuff like that. And of course people did, it was contagious and everything. So we got back there, had to be there and basically quarantine for, 2 weeks. And then we were finally able to start practicing. And at first we were only allowed to practice with who we were living with. So thankfully it was another pitcher and a catcher that I was living with. So we kind of were able to do that stuff. We kept it like that for a couple weeks just to limit the exposure to everybody and everything. And then finally, I would say a month and a half in, we were doing team stuff and all that. And even like our weightlifting groups, we divided up and kind of stayed on your own rack and stuff like that. I think that helped, but it was kind of inevitable with a lot of stuff. I
think everybody took the precautions to do what they had to do. Especially for something that they wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. When something you want to do, you're a little more compliant.
Exactly.
I just wish that it would have been, I don't know. It's just, like I said, it was a crazy time. It was weird. Like Zoe was saying, they had a mat. If you weren't wearing your mask, they're like, we'll just tell you to go home.
Yep.
Not go home to your apartment, go home.
Wow.
And she's like, oh my gosh.
That is crazy. We our like athletic training room where all the sports could go in there and get treatment and see our training staff and all that. You had to wear your mask in there all the time, and we were doing those ones that they're like basically those gator things that you pull up or whatever. And so they fall a lot too. Yeah. And I was doing something one day like with my arms, and it fell down, and the guy said something, and I pulled it back up, and it did it again. And I was kind of talking to somebody while I was doing it and not paying attention. And he kicked me out of the training room. And my coach got an email for it. And he's like, congratulations, you're the first student athlete at FGCU to be kicked out of the training room for that. And I was like, thank you. So I had to write an apology email and all that. And it was
for that.
I know. Really? It was a different time then.
You're like, thank you.
I'm like, you try to do this with something falling down your face and see if you can keep it up the whole time.
I remember that we had the gators for our players, high school players, and I think I still got mine. They were actually pretty cool. They
are a lot more breathable than those K95 and
those N95s.
N95,
the N95s you're supposed to wear. You're not supposed to wear those for very long.
No.
And then nobody would replace them. So it's
breathing in the same nasty stuff.
What is that? Why is it green?
Yeah. And then for us girls, like our makeup would be all over it. So you're like, I want to put that back on.
I think definitely the one positive thing from COVID was people didn't have to wear as much makeup, or people like who felt like I had a complexion about themselves. Yeah. Like, I think my teeth are messed up. I'll just wear a mask.
Exactly.
And like, and there'll be nothing wrong with them. And they have that complexion. Like, oh my gosh. Everybody's going to stare at my teeth. Not if I wear a mask. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it made people wash their hands more. And it was like one positive thing that came out of it.
I was going to say, I wasn't obsessive, but it did make me more attentive. Like, but I know that like the hand sanitizer thing, they say that's not good. Like, from what I heard, they say you put a lot of hand sanitizer in, you're killing out your own your defense
immune system. Yeah.
Who knows the real truth?
I know.
You say this,
you hear 100 different things.
It works. It don't work. Why are we wearing masks? I don't know.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if it works or not. Comply. That's all. That's basically what it boils down to. But we had some. We went to Colorado, and they were like, this was like November, because we went for Thanksgiving, so it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 Thanksgivings ago.
21.
Yeah. So it was the year after COVID. So a year, like 6 months or 5 months after we went to Vegas. So we get there, and they're like, nobody's wearing a mask inside the hotel. Like, okay, all right. We had to wear a mask out there. It's fine, whatever. And we went to. It was like we got there Sunday. Tuesday rolls around. They're like, all right, everybody back, mask on. I'm like,
just pick and choose what days they want to do it. That's weird.
Yeah, I'm like, this is mask off.
That's good.
Which one are we? What are we gonna do? Are we gonna do it, or are we not gonna do it? But yeah, I don't know. Just
it was tough. And then we actually had to play with them on for a while, most of the season, and they finally kind of backed off. But thankfully, when I was pitching, I didn't have to have it up over my face. Like, I couldn't imagine trying to do that. But when we were in the dugout or like doing anything team related, we had to have them pulled up. So that was not fun. Being in the Florida heat, wet, humid weather.
Right, one of those like restricted airflow. Yeah.
That was not fun, for sure.
I remember wearing in the Disney, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You think they were on.
Yeah.
They had people specifically
walking around.
I worked there for 17 years, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, this is your job, is to tell people to pull their mask up. Really? Like,
it's crazy.
But I mean, I get it. But I'm just like, golly, man. It's like if you,
get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Like, scurry. You're like, I'm not just.
I swallowed my water. I swear.
You're choking.
I know, and it's still like that.
Get out of here.
It's still like that though. You go to a restaurant and you like hear somebody coughing, you're like looking around. It's still like that. I don't think that'll ever go away now. No. It's crazy.
Or somebody sneezes on you, like,
yeah, roll the window down.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. COVID. That would have been tough. I mean,
yeah.
But not everybody. Not everybody can say that they did all that. So it's like, I don't know. It's like an experience.
It is.
It's like,
definitely.
Even though it was bad, you're like, eh. Like I asked somebody the other day, I'm like, would Tiger King have been as successful without COVID?
Right.
I think I asked Zoe that. Zoe's like, I haven't watched it. I'm like,
I've watched a little bit of it, but it was so crazy. I was like,
this is crazy.
This is not.
But it helps you get away from.
Didn't they find her husband somewhere?
No, I don't know. They don't think they were.
I think I heard that they found him or something.
I don't know.
That maybe he was off living somewhere else.
The one dude that she's married to now, he's been like that guy, I don't even know where he's at right now. But to have that.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Catfish Johnny's Restaurant, serving the Lake Peninsauken and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 33 years, we have strived to serve great food at great prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our burgers or wings are the best around. We have daily specials too. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Duto Realty is a homegrown business with an eye for getting the job done right. From football games to Sunday school and everything in between, these ladies care about our community and the people in it. Helping buyers and sellers in all of Florida with all types of transactions, including residential, commercial, farm, or vacant land. They do it all. They even offer auction services and sellouts to always get the job done right. All that happening made you forget how bad it was outside. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh man.
For sure. Yeah.
But
that was definitely nothing else to do. Everything was closed.
No. And you just binge watched. Mm-hmm. Thank God we had Wi-Fi.
Yep.
They didn't shut that down.
Yep.
So you come back and it's a new
world.
Did it feel? It felt different, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Very different. I would have to say from start to finish, everything, even at UF, I've probably taken like near 100 COVID tests because there's just so many protocols that you have to go through.
Oh, wow.
It was from the moment we stepped back foot on campus, like my senior year at FGCU, to probably before, like right before our season started at UF. Yeah. Like it was just COVID tests, like every week, every other week, whatever, just to make sure like nobody was positive. So that was just a completely different world. It was insane. They're not fun.
No.
Just stick that thing way up your nose, and that is not a fun test. Exactly.
You're like, hold on, I gotta sneeze. Mm-hmm. Get that. Just hold it out like a cotton candy machine.
Exactly. That's too funny.
So you came back and your teammates, it felt like you hadn't seen each other forever. Mm-hmm. Kind of like a little reunion.
Yep. And at first, like, we weren't even allowed to hang out with each other, like outside of softball. Because, you get exposure and stuff that way. So we weren't allowed to do team dinners, team bonding activities. Yeah.
But they want you to be able to do the team stuff.
He let us do that and stuff. He was like, don't do team dinners and stuff like that because like the ASUN and NCAA was put out rules and stuff like that they just didn't want everybody together in such close quarters and stuff. So
true. So did it make you play different?
For sure. So in the fall, we usually play a couple fall games. We actually played like Zoe School and stuff like that in the fall usually. And then we play each other a lot. That year, we only played each other, blue versus green. So we didn't get to play other teams and stuff like that, which that kind of sucked because that was so repetitive. You can only see so many pitchers so many times, so many of the same batters before it's just, whatever. Like the other pitchers on the team, they hated throwing to me anymore because like I would like their changeups and stuff. I would hit those over the fence a lot and just other stuff. And then even I hated throwing to our batters because I was like, well, I can only throw them certain pitch so many times for they know where it's going to go and they're going to start hitting it. So that was a very frustrating fall season for that. And then when spring rolled around, we had to get tested like right before our first game against UCF, and like half of our team went out. Pretty sure they were false positives because nobody was sick. And even our head coach, I think, was out. So like our first game of the season, half the team's out, head coach is out, and all that, and we did not play very good that game. But we came back and had a better weekend and stuff, but that was just like everybody was frazzled and like didn't know what to do kind of thing. So
well, I'm sure it took some time to get back in the groove too. Yeah, you keep facing this, not seeing different people doesn't help you get back in the swing.
Exactly. It's just kind of the same repetitive thing over and over again.
That's why we do that. In football we do that classic. Mm-hmm. So we can see another team before we play our other schedule.
Exactly. You
do the red and white game, and you're like, man, I practice against this defense or offense every day.
Exactly.
And you it's funny because the defense is always like, the coach is like, oh man, dude, we played. These kids know what's coming,
right?
You get lost in that, and then sometimes you forget you forget about that. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah. And then you just move on.
Exactly. But yeah, it was crazy adjusting to that. Even like halfway through the season, we would like go to travel to places, and your family was always more than welcome to come, but you couldn't really go hang out with them after the games and stuff, go eat, because you didn't know where they had been, who they had been exposed to. Them, exactly. So that was kind of tough because, like I said, like both my coaches were very family oriented, so they always let us go eat with our parents and stuff after the games and all that. And so that was tough experiencing that, and just kind of, you couldn't hang out with anybody else but your teammates.
Right.
And eventually you get real tired of your teammates.
Right. Well, you kind of they want to keep you in close quarters. They want to keep an eye on you. Mm-hmm. And but they just, it's just all about, again, liability. Mm-hmm. Isn't that funny how it never
goes away?
Never goes away. Mm-mm. So you finish up at Florida Gulf Coast. Mm-hmm. And then what made you want to transfer?
So we learned that we were all getting our fifth year, I think before we came back for our senior year. I'm not sure when they completely announced that. But in the back of my mind, I was always like, I was like, if I play somewhere else, I want to go somewhere else. I want to get like a whole different experience and like finish out my last year somewhere else. I didn't know where I wanted to go, but obviously Florida has like always been my dream school. So I was like, maybe. And we were coming up towards like the end of our season and playing in conference and stuff. And like I said, our senior year wasn't very, very good. We didn't have a super good season. So we, me and our other pitcher that shared a lot of the time with me, we were kind of talking, and she's the one who lives back home in Connecticut. So she was like, if I play my fifth year, I'm going back home to Connecticut. I miss my family. I've been down here in Florida. She played at FSW for 2 years, Zoe's school, and then went to FGCU for 2 years. So she had been in Florida for 4 years, and she was like, I want to go back home to Connecticut. And I was like, well, I said, I would probably stay in Florida. I was like, maybe like Georgia or North Carolina, like somewhere right around there, whatever, just for 1 year. And then we started talking about it, and we were like, let's enter our name in the portal and just see like what kind of offers and stuff we get just to do it, just to see. She ended up going to Sacred Heart, I think in Connecticut, a school up there. And I started getting a lot of emails and stuff from places like App State, Marshall, things like that, that they wanted me to come there for my fifth year. And my coach, Dave Deros at FGCU, he was like, where do you want to go? And I said, you already know that my dream school has been University of Florida. And he was like, you want me to reach out to Tim Walton? And I was like, yeah, of course, because we had already played them. We played them our junior year and our senior year, and it was really good games, actually. UF won both times, but it was only like 1 or 2 runs each time. So we played really good against them. So he had already seen me like there. Tim Walton knew me from the camps and stuff, and they played against us, so he knew me. But yeah, Dave Deros was like, you want me to reach out to him? And I was like, yeah, of course, whatever. And so I would say halfway through June, I was already getting a bunch of emails from all these other coaches and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like a Sunday morning, I wake up to a text from, I had his number already saved in my phone. I wake up for a text from him, and he's like, hey, this is Tim Walton. Heard you're interested in coming here for your fifth year. Let's set up a meeting and talk tomorrow. So I was like, oh my God, like ran and shit with my parents. I was like, that's so crazy. And so we did. And me and my dad met with him Monday, like a Zoom call, and talked everything out. And he was like, pick out a master's program here, and we'd love to have you aboard on the staff. He was like, awesome. We're looking for a pitcher to come in with experience already and be able to kind of lead and help our team. So
yeah, that's
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Walton, I'd love to have him on here.
He's awesome. He loves doing stuff like this, so you might be able to for sure.
Yeah, Kirsty talks such highly about him, and I was like, man, I mean, no doubt he's a really, really good guy. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, and I was his favorite, and I was like, well, so I mean, funny. Of course she was,
though. He does talk about her a lot, especially to me. Yeah, especially to me, because he knows that like we know each other and we have the same hometown. Hilarious. Yeah, but yeah, he's a great guy. He's so knowledgeable about the game and just kind of says stuff that you never even think about and stuff. And, being a pitcher for me, like doing that motion so much, I struggled with throwing overhand to first base. Like it was just doing that motion so much that like going like that was like so foreign to my arm. Yeah. He helped me just like getting a better, like basically kind of side throw a little bit because it was closer to the thing. Yeah. And I was able to throw the ball so much better to the bases that way. So he played baseball, and I think he won the World Series at OSU, I think is where he went.
Either there.
No, maybe it was Oklahoma. Oklahoma, yeah.
Oh, don't say that. I didn't go to OSU.
But they cut that out. But yeah, he went to Oklahoma, and I think they might have won 2 championships there. I'm not sure. I think it was 1 for sure. But so he's always been around that world. He's got 2 sons that play, and his daughter actually, she was awesome. Camden, love her. She was around all the time at the games, stuff like that. And I was like, did you ever play? I mean, you're Tim Walton's daughter. And she was like, listen, I played T-ball once, and she slid into home or something and was out and started crying in the field. And she was like, I'm done. Never played again. And I think that's so funny. Like everybody in the softball world pretty much knows Tim Walton. And you got his daughter that, could have been like one of the greatest softball players in history. And she tapped out after T-ball. She's not having it. She's not having it. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, no.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I didn't know how awesome he was at spotting the ball. Mm-hmm. And Kirsty was talking about how they would do like game winners.
Yes.
And he would like pick a spot and he could just put it on. I mean, that's
every time.
I'm serious. That's like I look at coaches when they throw the ball. I'm like, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. I'd hit it and knock somebody out behind the dugout or something. It would just like oof, it would go anywhere other than where I was trying to hit it.
Yeah, he would do it every day religiously, and every time it would be where he'd want to do it. And I'm like, that's insane. Yeah. For me, my one would be making a good throw to first base. So he would do a laid bunt down, and I'd have to get up there and throw a good one to first.
But you know what? You think about it, you're like, yeah, it's like saying, go over there and put the trash in the trash can or shoot a basket. You're 10 feet away.
Exactly.
But it's not that easy.
No.
I've played like, adult softball or, like for Disney or whatever. We had a team. And you're like, oh my God. Like a throw. You would throw it. You were so amped up that you would like miss throw over. Yeah. Oh God, it would soar. I did throw out some guy one time from right field. He tried to get a little squirrely. He thought he was going to get double, and I threw a rope.
Nice.
And guy caught it, made the swoop, the tag.
Yeah.
And then of course what do? I throw my glove up in the air like I'm 5 years old. You're like, whee! Like, what are you doing?
So funny.
And I remember this guy we worked with, Scott Sulak. He's like, yeah, Dylan. And then I go, whee! He goes, no, don't do that.
That's so funny.
You look stupid now. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
They'd be gunning for you, trying to hit you.
I know, right? I could have done something cool, like put the sword back.
Right.
No, I had to throw my glove up like I'm 5. Yay! Like a Muppet or something.
That's so funny.
So you get to Florida, and talk about the differences between. I'm not trying to be any kind of way. I'm just trying to give them people an example of the difference in facilities and I don't want to say treatment because you got treated well, but I'm saying like the differences.
No, yeah, there's such a big difference. It's almost like night and day, so to say. Because again, UF's a big football school. Yep. They're pulling in so much money from donors, selling Gatorade, whatever. So that's a very, very funded university for sure. So we had the state of art equipment. Training facilities, that kind of thing. We basically anything you wanted at your disposal, you had. And this year when they built that new big training facility, like they all got their meals and stuff there this year, so I missed out on that. I was like, dang it. Wouldn't even had to pay for meals when I was there, like going out to eat and stuff like that, because they had to eat like breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. So
gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, it was definitely night and day for sure. We had like cold tanks and stuff right there at our disposal after practice. We had team massages and stuff. That was nice. I could go get acupuncture whenever I needed it on my knee from hyperextending it when I did.
How does that feel? I know some people. Well, I know this young lady. She's talking about acupuncture. She does it, and I'm like, I don't like needles.
It's freaky. Sometimes I kind of have to close my eyes when she do it because they basically like find your nerves and like poke it, and
literally like it's stabbed in you like a pencil.
It don't hurt when it goes in. It just kind of feels like a light rubber band kind of flicking against you. Gotcha. But if they'd find the muscle like nerve right, it would twitch like real hard and stuff. So my knee would be sitting there spazzing. Yeah. And if you move while it's in you, it kind of hurts because it's like doing something with your nerves. So you just kind of have to sit there and let it happen.
Yeah.
For sure. But it helped a lot.
Yeah.
It relieved a lot of pressure and like swelling and stuff on it. So
they do, a lot of people do acupuncture just to get over like almost like detox. Mm-hmm. So a buddy of mine, he was a smoker, heavy smoker, and he did a lot of that to like rejuvenating and stuff. He did the acupuncture, and he's like, he looks down and he's got like he's laying on the table and he's got all these needles in him, and he goes,
yeah.
First thing he thought was, man, I could go for a cigarette right now. Like, oh my God.
Right.
That's not what you were supposed to be doing.
No.
You're supposed to
be resetting.
Yeah, you're supposed to detox your body, not like, God, I wish I had a cigarette now.
That's
it was
crazy.
that stressful, I guess. He, was like, he looks down, he's like, look, I'm like a pin cushion. He's like, oh my God, I could go for a cigarette right now. I'm like, that's not the way it works, buddy.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a lot more differences, and because they're like the UF health program there and stuff is so big, we had like our own team doctors.
Yeah.
They paid for like our eye exams and stuff like that, and like contacts, because a lot of us wear contacts
Gotcha.
to have better vision. And so that stuff was a lot different. Like being taken care of in that sense was definitely awesome.
Did you get to play in the new stadium?
Yes.
Okay.
It was
I have not been
nice.
there yet.
It was very nice.
Yeah.
I think they just redid the scoreboard even more this year.
Yeah.
But it had been like redone even when I was there and stuff, and it was really nice. They actually when our fall season was over, we started practicing on like the fields way in the back there, because they completely tore up our whole field and leveled it off, because I guess like second base and shortstop, they were a little bit uneven on certain spots and he didn't like it, so he got them out there and like they were laser gridding the field to get precise exact measurements for the old Tim Walton.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
they completely redid that, and the field was amazing after that.
Well, he knew what he wanted. That's the thing. It's when you don't know what you want and you're stuck in limbo.
Right.
You're like, oh God, what do we do? Do we lower the field, or do we just leave it? And it's not hard to get it off like that too. It just takes a little bit of. It don't take nothing at all to get it. But it's when you make it a spectacle and
Exactly.
like, oh well. But I haven't been to the new field. I want to go.
Nice.
To
The seating's nice in the stands and stuff too.
I do miss the hill though. Like
There's still a little bit there, but it's definitely not as big as it was.
bad as it was.
Yeah, they have like standing out there behind the fence too now, where there's like a thing you can lean on and stuff. So
when I go to, this is at the old Gator Stadium, the baseball stadium. My buddy Justin Coleman and I would go, and we wouldn't even sit. We paid general admission. We'd stand. There's the railing on the first base line. We'd stand in. That was, I kid you not, they were the best seats in the house.
yeah,
Just stand there, leaning on the rail,
Right.
and I'd watch an entire baseball game.
Right.
It was awesome.
now the new baseball field is very nice as well.
Yeah, I want to go.
Very nice.
I
I've been to a
wanna
few
go.
games there, and it's been awesome. They were packed out when they were hosting the Supers and the
Oh
regionals.
yeah, no doubt. Oh yeah,
The videos
It's a big
and stuff.
deal.
I was watching those games for the championship of the World Series.
Yeah.
How do you go from winning by so many runs to getting beat by so many
If
runs?
you were to
That
count
was
the
so-
runs in the entire series,
Oh my
we
gosh,
had it.
they both set so many records, I think. Well, I think LSU broke it the next day or whatever.
But the thing is, Kersey said this best. You don't realize it. You don't want to lose that first game. That's where they went wrong. And I thought that in the back of my head when they lost that first game. And of course, it was an overtime.
Yeah.
It was a final or extra innings. But I was like, man, they could have just won that game, and then they'd won that 24-4 or whatever it was.
And that's like
My
all
God,
everyone
that'd
will
been-
remember.
That's a storybook inning right there.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, sometimes it just doesn't work out that
Yeah.
way. But I think the good thing is they didn't have that many seniors left, and so Florida's going to come back.
They'll be pretty good next year
reloaded.
again, yeah. I think they picked up quite a good few transfers too.
Right. And then I'm a big Pirates fan, and we got the ace from LSU. I can't think of his name right now. Fins.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That pitcher.
The pitcher, he's awesome.
He was good.
Pitch great. I mean, like I said, the guys, they did a great job. That's why they play a series. 'Cause you could look like that one game, the middle game, and then the next game, the first game, it's one run. Next game, you're like, oh my gosh, stop the bleeding.
Right.
And then
the third game.
It's
crazy.
Yeah, it's when you're on, you're on. You know.
I think, and that's like one of the major differences between baseball and softball. I think that like you have so many more boys on a baseball team, and you know, pretty much all of them can pitch if they absolutely had to. Like they were all a pitcher at some point in their life. And you know, that's the major difference there with baseball and softball. I think pretty much any baseball team on any given day could like win. I think that's like a huge difference there.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage to have more pitching. You know what I mean? More pitching does win. That's what wins the games to begin with. But like I didn't know, you know, for softball, Kirsty was telling me about how, like, you know, obviously I knew the mechanics, the way you throw the ball. You could pitch couple games in a row, but I was like, you know, overhand, you got to take 4 or 5 days off.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, we'll see one. You get one good pitcher in a series, and you're like, I ain't gonna see him again.
Yeah.
But softball, you could pitch as much as you want, and Coach Walton would do that. The little switcheroo, the little bait and switch, I call it. We're gonna have her start, and then you know, a couple innings later, he's gonna pull out. It's like, you know, he's going to use his.
Yeah, we had a very diverse staff my year at UF, so he liked to switch us a lot.
Yeah,
we had basically Elizabeth Hightower and Lexi Delbury that were the starters, and then me, Natalie, and Riley and Haley would just kind of come in and shut it down from there, because the game of college softball is completely just taken off. Like the hitters are so much better in the games, and I always say, like, since I've been done, I always said that I was going to have a meeting with all the umpires and be like, this little strike zone that you guys have created is so dangerous to the pitchers. Like, you're making us throw it so much more over the plate, such better pitchers to the hitters that, you know, it's a danger to us. We're going to get hit. Right. And then, you know, it's just, it sucks. It's a disadvantage to us. We can't throw those pitches that, you know, used to be strikes because you're not going to call them anymore. So the pitchers aren't, like, they can't go as long anymore because of that. I feel like the hitters have just gotten so much better, and there's so much more video and stuff now. Like, that plays such a role. We did so much scouting, like, it's insane. You don't think about the behind the scenes. We watch so many pitchers to be like, okay, this is what she's going to throw me, and, you know, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
I was gonna ask you. Do you have someone calling pitches for you, or is it you look at a coach, or are you looking at the catcher?
So it was kind of both. At FGCU, we would if I shook off a pitch that the coach was calling, then the catcher would call it, like, what I wanted to throw. And same thing at UF, but the pitching coach for the most part is calling the pitches back there, because they've scouted the hitter so much, so they know what their weaknesses are, they know what your strengths are. So, and
the count, whatever you got,
exactly, yeah.
What was your favorite pitch to throw?
Probably my turnover drop curve. It basically curved and dropped too. Is definitely like my bread and butter strikeout pitch.
I love that. I've never heard that before, and I love it. It sounds so cool.
Turnover drop curve.
Sounds like a bad Danish at a emo shop or something. It's the bad turnover. Whatever.
Drop curve.
So funny.
So
that's cool though. I mean, you. It's cool that you're able to do that. It sounds like they give you a little bit of freedom to shake off. Yeah, definitely. Going back to that World Series.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say back to that World Series. I think it was the World Series, or might have been the game before that. Florida catcher. He throws a sign, and this was he had his glove, and he was dropping it down, and he was motioning to hit the pitcher. Pitcher throws it right over the middle, and he goes. You could just see the disgust. And, I tried to tell him, right? But they were showing how if he moved his glove like this, they were trying to pick him off. I mean, you think that's common sense, but nobody ever does that.
No, yeah.
And it's like this guy's got like a 6-foot lead off. He's like ready to go, and he's like. And then he's just turn and throw, and the guy's picked up. It's cool. Yeah. But, I mean, that only works a certain amount of times. Yeah. But it's a heads-up play. It's smart. Different strategy, but, it's cool.
But yeah, it was good having freedom for pitch calling. Like if I seen something that the coach wasn't necessarily seeing, like if they were kind of back in the box more, I was like, all right, I need to maybe throw a changeup or something here low and get him to chase it, ground it out or something. But both the coaches, like they always said, if you're gonna shake it off, you better throw what you want to throw, because if you are like timid and you kind of like, maybe I shouldn't do that, and you go to throw it and you leave it fat or something, you're that's on you. You did that. Yeah. So they're like, whatever you do, like be confident and throw it. Like, so.
I told Zoe the same thing. I hate to repeat myself, but it's so funny because we're talking about pitches and stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a video of a Little League, and the dad goes, no, I'm sorry. Well, there's two different videos. One video, the dad goes, throw him the heat. He's behind the plate, he's doing the dad thing. Throw him the heat. And the son says, the pitcher, and he throws it, and the kid goes yard. He's like, he goes, all right, don't throw him the heat. But the other one was this kid. It zoomed in on the kid's face, and he's looking down at the catcher, and the catcher gives him the sign. He goes, not this, shakes it off, and he does another sign. He goes, oh yeah, throws it, kid goes yard. But that's what, like you're saying, like you gotta be confident. You don't go, that maybe he should have thrown the one he shook off. Exactly. But it was funny because he said, oh yeah, this one's, you're about to go out.
And sometimes you just gotta tip your hat to the hitter, like they got you that pitch for sure.
It's a lot of give and take as a pitcher, because you're like,
you have to have a very short mindset. Like you have to just let stuff go. And that used to be a problem when I was younger. If I gave up a home run, I was like, man, like so mad. I was like, what could I have done different? Whatever. And then, for the next 2 or 3 batters, that's all my mind's on. And you have to let that go. Yeah. You have to move on very quickly.
That's why we tell our football kids, focus on the next play, because good or bad, doesn't matter. You score a touchdown, you can still lose the game. You can't be thinking about that touchdown you scored 30 minutes ago. We need to drive. We need to do now. Yep. You ever seen Ted Lasso? No? He's a coach, and he's a football coach, and he goes.
That does sound familiar.
He goes over to England, and he coaches soccer club.
Okay.
Football, But they did it as a joke.
Yeah.
Because the owner wants to, like, kind of like Major League wants to drive them in the dirt, so because her ex-husband is the owner, part owner. But anyways, one of the things he says is, do you know, what animal has a 10-second memory? And it was a goldfish. So he said, be a goldfish.
Nice.
Just because.
I feel like I'm going to look up a picture of him, because that name sounds so familiar.
He's got the mustache. It's Jason
I'm just not
Sudeikis.
Good with the names, I guess.
Is it Jason Sudeikis? I think it is. But he's.
Oh, okay.
So,
that guy.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But he did a great job. But yeah, it's a lot of like little things like that. But one of the things he says is, be a goldfish. 10-second memory. Yeah. So if you ever see that quote, that's from Ted Lasso. But anyways, yeah, that's a good thing to do, because you're so worried about that, and you are missing. That can also happen in life. You're stuck on one thing, and you're missing all the other opportunities.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a really important skill and asset that I had to learn, and that pretty much all athletes should definitely take into effect. And like you said, everybody in everyday life.
Yeah. I think everybody gives. A lot of people don't realize how good failure is. Because,
you can always learn from something.
Learn from it.
Even when you do something completely perfect, still learn from it.
There's always something.
Yeah.
That reminds me when I was at Disney, they had like a, you get what do they call that? Where they pretty much grade you, your end of the year thing.
Yeah.
And the word will come to me. I know people are like, you idiot. But anyways, this one particular person would always come over, and I called it show mode. Like I was practicing, because you got to go all over the place. Hey guys, come on! It's like you're on crack.
Yeah.
And I get backstage, and one of the things that they would say to me was, "He did great, but," and it never,
always a but.
It never was, "Hey, that was awesome," and then walk away. But I realized if they didn't say the but part, then why do we need them? If everybody's perfect, there's nothing to critique.
Exactly.
Why do they need a job?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. But once you look at it a certain way, because I always took it as constructive criticism. I'm like, that's a double negative.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
No. Yeah.
You can't.
Gotta have tough skin.
Yeah, you do. You do. So I'm sure there was a lot of that around Coach Walton because from what I've heard the stories, he's very demanding, but he's a perfectionist.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. No, it's you never get offended by anything that he's saying because he's just so it is so weird. Like you have to meet him and just know the vibe of him and stuff like that. But he's just so well known, so respected, everything that you completely put your trust in him and stuff, and you're like, if he's saying this is wrong, if I'm doing this wrong, it's wrong.
Right.
And you just trust
it. And I'm gonna fix it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's somebody you can count on, and you can, like you said, trust is a wonderful thing. And especially if you can, especially a coach.
Yeah.
If you, we got coaches, man. I'd walk through the gates of Hades for them.
Yeah.
Just because that's how they make you feel. I mean, you would go to war for them.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a very valuable characteristic of someone, of anyone, and that's not necessarily a coach, but just anyone in general. But Florida was great.
It was great, yeah. Such a good experience.
You have a story or a memory that kind of...
Yeah, there's definitely a couple. Like I said, my pitching role on the team wasn't necessarily a starter like I was at FGCU. I was a reliever. I came in when the situations were tough. And the whole year, every single time, I'm 99.9% sure of this fact. Somebody will have to fact check me on it. But every time that I came in, most of the time it was bases loaded, no outs, the worst position you could be in. Or, runner on third, one out, whatever the situation was. Every time that I came in, I got us out of it and didn't let a run score. Good. There was one time maybe that an error happened or something and a run scored, but that obviously doesn't count because it was.
Other than that.
Yeah, but other than that, every single time I didn't let a run score. So that was that mentality that I had to adopt of coming into those high pressure situations was just a completely different role than I've ever been used to for sure. And basically, I just kind of told myself, you can't make a mistake here. There's absolutely no room. So don't even let that get in your mind. Don't even let that be a thing. So
there's it's funny you say that because there's a guy named Bob Euchre. He played for the Cardinals, Braves. He's a Hall of Fame announcer. He's a comedian, actor. He was on. It's on the movie Major League. It's just a bit outside that announcer.
Yeah.
Anyways, he talked about how he was a catcher. And he said, I always knew that we had the game in hand or that it was real late when they put me in because I looked across and all the other players were in street clothes.
Nice.
they weren't worried about anything.
Right.
So I guess it's better to be more important than that.
That's too funny.
Yeah, he says, look over they're in street clothes. I knew we were going to win that game.
Yeah.
It's I got put in. That's when I got put in.
That's so funny.
But so you had your college softball experience. So what are you going to do now? What did you end up graduating with?
Yeah, so at FGCU, I got my bachelor's in health science. Okay. And then UF, I got my master's in health education and behavior. And I got my certification as a certified health education specialist.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. I had to take a big exam for that and prepare a lot for that. That was insane. But yeah, so I got my degrees in that. I'm almost done with all my classes for med school. I got to take like physics 1 and 2 and like a biochem or something. And then I'm going to study for the MCAT for probably a year before I try to take it, because it's a very, very difficult exam. But ultimately I want to go to med school and I want to become an orthopedic surgeon.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
everybody, your knees, your hips, everything, you'll be able to come to me eventually.
Oh, you're in the right place too. 'Cause, man, you're in the land of Oz for knees.
For sure.
Like all these older people.
Exactly.
Hips. Oh my god.
The villages. It's just calling my name.
So that's eventually what you want to do.
I wanted to be an athletic trainer, but they don't make enough money for what they do. Like they do so much and help so like many athletes, and they don't get paid enough. So I was like, what's kind of like that, but like a step above that? And so orthopedic surgeon kind of came to mind.
Yeah, or you could do physical therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that with what you have too, right? Okay.
Well, I think you still have to go to like 4 years of the program or something for that. Yeah.
So I didn't know if you could do like
I think they call it PT school or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So my brother, he wanted to do the athletic trainer type deal, and he was taking a class at Lake Sumter, and he said they were watching a guy go up for a dunk. And when he came down,
and his shin just like splinted out of his leg.
Yes, that shin or his knee went backwards or whatever. Okay. So my brother he was like, I was all good, you know. He said, but I had to go to the restroom. So he leaves and comes back, and he says, you know, like you're in like elementary school, you see kids drag their hand across the wall. Like he's just walking like this. He says, all I remember is touching the doorknob and I passed out.
That's too funny.
He said he woke up and there was, and you were there? What are y'all doing here?
That's so funny.
And they're like, man, you passed out. I was like, oh my God.
This isn't the route for you.
Exactly. He said it was early enough to where he could.
That's good.
Yeah, it was crazy. But
that is hilarious. My cousin's like that. He's very squeamish with like blood and stuff like that. So anytime he gets his blood drawn, he like borderline passes out. So so that stuff doesn't bother me. I like it. I hate to like it because it's like bad, but it interests me for sure.
Well, you know what's funny when you talk about blood and stuff. I go get blood drawn every once in a while, and the last time I was there, the lady goes, I kept going to this one place, and then I found a place closer to home. And they go, and I told her, I was like, like I said, I'm terrified of needles. And so they're like, well, just tell me you want the butterfly, the baby. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, this is programmed in my mind. So I go over to the place to get blood drawn, and I asked the lady, this old school, I mean, she is hardcore. This older lady. She goes, I said, I got my arm laid out, and I was like, can you use the butterfly? She looks at me and she goes, not with those veins. I can draw oil out of them things. I'm like, come on, they're not that big.
That's funny.
Yeah, she's like, not with those veins. I'm like,
that's funny.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing gear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kingston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with it. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store.
It's funny that you say that because when we came back my senior year at FGCU, they were letting the nursing students draw our blood because they weren't able to do that because of COVID and all that. Yeah. So this was their practice and stuff like that. And they were doing the antigen test on us or whatever to see if we'd ever had COVID, or antibodies, not antigen. And so the nursing students were doing it on my arm, and I always tell them to do it on my left arm because most of the time I'm going to go practice or do something. So like, I don't want my right arm to be sore. Right. And every time I tell them that, sure enough, that one will never get blood out. Every time, I swear. But the nursing students were trying to do it and they could not find my vein in it. And then like the lady comes over and she's like, we're gonna have to do your right arm. I was like, whatever, fine at this point, because like they're already hurting me on like bruising me on that one. And she does the butterfly one, and to me that one hurt worse than the regular needle.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was like, man, that didn't feel good.
Yeah, that lady did it. I was like, oh, that's. And that lady that was at the one I just recently went to, she knew what she was doing. Mm-hmm. I think that's the difference. You get somebody that's been doing it forever. Yeah, they know how to do it.
Yeah, I could find a vein.
But she's like, not with those veins. I'm like, well, okay. So I'm like, she goes, just look over there, and I'm like, all right, well, looking around.
Right.
Scared to death. I hate needles. God, I hate
it. They don't really bother me too much.
Ugh.
Well, I tell you what, one thing, when I was doing that acupuncture stuff, she would put this like herbal things in my knee that was supposed to help it with inflammation because I was allergic to that ibuprofen and stuff. And that was a pretty big needle that she had to put in my knee, and I kind of just had to like go like that.
Like getting your knee drained.
Yeah, it was, and it did not feel good going in ever. So
I didn't blow my knee up, but I hit it where it filled with fluid. Mm-hmm. At the high school, the little spigots, mm-hmm. I was messing around, aggravating some girl, and she, the classic cat and mouse, mm-hmm. was chasing me. And I turned the corner, and I didn't see that thing, and I clipped it with my knee. Man. And I go, I'm like, ah. So I go into the classroom. And I look down, and it's like a balloon. I go, just pass up. And the teacher, Mr. Harrison, PJ Harrison, he says, Mr. Goblay, get in your seat. And I'm sitting there passed out. But oh my gosh. And then they're like, and it had so much fluid in there, and they said, I knew that they could drain it.
Yeah.
Like, nah, well, it'll just go away.
I'll reabsorb it.
It did. I'm like, you better back up right now. They didn't try, but I was like, they're like, we could. They're like, it'll go. The swelling will go down. I'm like.
I can't imagine that pain.
I was running full sprint. Yeah. Clipped that thing. And I was like, you felt it. It's like, you knew. I was like, all right, mark in my head that there's a spigot right there on the edge of that building. But I was like, could have had instant relief. I'm like, nope. Gonna let it drain out.
Stay away from
El Natural.
That's funny.
So what are your plans now?
So that's the future plans and stuff. And for the meantime, I'm actually going to be teaching at the high school, South Sumter High School.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
I'm going to be teaching biology honors and chemistry honors.
Oh, very cool.
So I'm excited about that.
Very cool.
I start all that next week. Got to go to HR training and stuff.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
So, did you ever think you'd be back?
No? Not for that. I always thought maybe in the meantime be like a PE coach or something and go help out with softball. But I definitely didn't think I would be teaching. So I'm excited about that.
Another hard exam is the PE exam.
Is it?
People don't realize it. I kid you not. Everybody just thinks, oh, they're a PE teacher. They just go there in gym shorts.
Right.
All right, kids, run a lap. They have to pass this test. It is super hard.
It's on paper now or something, isn't it? Or is it on the computer?
I just know that it's super hard to pass.
Whenever I was finishing out high school, they brought in a paper exam you had to take for it.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it was crazy questions, what's your heart rate going to be if you're doing this for 30 minutes or something? And I'm like, what? How in the world are you
I know it was in the medical field.
Right? Crazy questions.
One time I had Coach Russo back in the day.
I remember him.
Coach Russo. He
coached my sister
on the
softball team.
Yeah. He, I think I missed too many days. I had to take his exam. Mm-hmm. His PE. Mm-hmm. I was like, what? So you're flipping through this thing and it says, how many players are on the field, of a baseball field? And I go, well, does that include the batter? Does that include
the on deck?
Could you be more specific?
Right.
So they throw a lot of those trick questions in there. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't know, 9?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the opposing team? Or are you talking about
which one?
All together?
Yeah.
Coaches? Yeah. Umpires?
Yeah.
I don't know if it specifically said players, but it was just what? So, a funny story about Russo. So we were playing out on the softball field in the springtime. With we had
the PE class out there, and kid hits a line drive, and Russo's pitching, right? Mm-hmm. Russo throws this like wicked, like 12-foot arch,
yeah.
And this kid, comebacker, just laser. Mm-hmm. Coach Russo had enough time to turn around. He took it in the back. He goes, "God!" he takes it.
That's funny.
And from what I was told, I wasn't there. From what I told, he pushed through like he Dragon Ball Z'd it. So that's what you should have done at first, from pitcher to first.
Get it over there like that.
Throw it, like a chest pass. He pushed through it, got the kid out, and he's like, "Yeah!"
That's so funny.
But the whole he fumbles around for it, picks it up, throws it to first.
That's so funny.
I'm like, oh my gosh, that is classic Russo. Right,
some of the other pitchers at FGCU, they were kind of struggling with the same thing, and he would practice hitting kind of those in-betweeners of pitcher and first base, and he would have them kick it there. Because it was like, first off, it was so much quicker to just kind of kick it to the first baseman and all that. I never did that. I feel like I would have rolled my ankle or something immediately if I had tried to do that. But he would have them do that. And one time in a game, one of them did it and it worked. And we all died laughing about it. It was so funny. But kicking the ball over to first base like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you came in today.
I had fun.
I'm glad you could kind of talk a little bit about softball.
Right.
So it was like, yes, I get to talk about softball.
I know, exactly.
Kirsty was the same way. Kirsty says, gosh, I'm normally talking to a 2 or 3-year-old. I think 2-year-old, her daughter is.
Yeah.
And,
she's so cute. Oh my gosh. The baby's cute too, but she is adorable. Oh my goodness.
So she's like, I'm normally talking about whatever.
Yeah.
I don't get to talk about softball much. But I'm glad you could come in. It's funny because we had Zoe on last, and then now you're on. So I'm like overloading the softball.
Right,
here.
the softball.
Everybody was like, is it just about football? I'm like, give me a minute. I got to get people in here.
That's too funny.
So, but yeah, I'm glad you could come in, and good luck to this next upcoming school year.
Thank you.
I hope you have a smooth transition.
Me too.
You've had a couple of those, and I mean, it's awesome to see. Obviously, not just athletes, but like kids come back and teach, even if they weren't athletes. Come back to South Sumter.
I'm excited to be back in the area and stuff for sure. And I'm going to help out with the softball team at high school. I didn't really have an option. They just told me I'm doing it. I'm like, okay.
That Brandy's like, nah, you okay.
Yeah, her too. But Howman, I actually spoke at the Senior Banquet Award this year. And like when he was introducing me to everybody, he was like, yeah, she's going to help out with the softball team and stuff at high school. I was like, okay. I was like, I guess.
Yeah, Howard's like, you will.
It's so funny.
Look at you. Yeah, okay, all right.
But yeah, I'm excited for that. I'll probably be the pitching coach and stuff. That's there because Kylie's like the head coach and stuff, so she'll still be doing all that.
Well, we got a really, really nice facility out there.
I've seen it's different nice since I've been there, so glad they redid it and
I had a little bit
seating.
to do with that. Some behind the scenes stuff when I was still in maintenance, and it was cool. Nice, a nice bullpen that's elevated, and you don't have to. And the fence there now instead of foul balls trying to come. Yeah, you're not having to do it, getting a ninja stance after you throw, looking around, head on a swivel. But and they also moved the dugout back, back, so you can actually see the bat. Right. Like what was funny was for years they had the benches down on the first base side, but you couldn't see the batter. Yeah. Because of the freaking dugout. Yep. So they backed that up, and now you can see great. There's not a bad seat in the house now. So exactly. I'm excited. I'm excited to be back out there and just be around everybody and stuff. Yeah, it'll be fun. It will be. And but you're always welcome to come back on. Oh, thank you. We'll check back on you in sometimes soon. Couple months. I'm pulling my hair out from the students. What do you think of it now? Why did you let me do this? No, but like I said, you'll enjoy it. It's probably going to be challenging, but it'll be nice. It'll be something different. Everything you do is going to be challenging. Exactly. But it's about overcoming them and. It's about just taking it one day at a time, doing what you can, only what you can. Yeah. You know? And I always said everything I do, I never half
do.
Yeah,
I do it 100%.
No,
so
well, my thing is, if you're gonna have something, then you got to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're gonna go that low, which sometimes I have, most of the time I have, but at least it's done right.
Exactly.
Because you can have something and you're like, why did you even do this?
Right.
You shouldn't even have tried, but at least it looks better than it did.
Exactly. Yeah. I always tell people, I'm like, if you have to do something, like, there's no way getting out of it, no matter what. You might as well do it right. Like, what's the point of not doing it right?
Right.
You just look a fool.
Absolutely. Well, we're all proud of you.
Thank you.
I want to give your mom a shout out.
Oh.
I like she's great. I like coming in there in the mornings, and I always say Missy.
That's so funny.
I always give her the show Billy. We give each other a hard time, and it's a good
That's
thing.
That's so funny. PSA to all the teachers and district people that are listening: please, when you email one of us, like, know that you're either going to email Melissa or Marissa, because I can't wait for the emails I'm going to get that are meant for her, and then vice versa, and we're going to just have to send them to each other.
I called your mom Marissa the other day, and she's like,
I get called Melissa every day of my life by somebody, so
it was funny. I was like, yeah, I said I saw Melissa, is what I said. She goes, what? And I'm like, I meant Marissa.
It happens.
Oh my gosh, you're the one who did this, okay?
Exactly.
You didn't want this trouble. You should have named her, I don't know, Sheila or something.
Right, something completely different.
Right.
Her mom's name was Mary, and then her name was Melissa, so they combined them to get Marissa.
Cool.
Yeah,
see, that's cool though.
Yeah.
But she didn't know she was going to have trouble later on.
Exactly. Didn't think it through.
Yeah, she's like, for the time being, we'll just name you this. It's better than Bob.
Funny, right.
Well, thanks for coming on again.
No problem.
And
thanks for having me.
Yeah,
it was an enjoyable time.
Yeah, anytime you come on, and we're going to keep doing this. And like, I don't know who we're going to have on next, but
we'll have to have you in the hot seat one day and asking you questions.
My classmate and good friend Corey Moore said the same thing. He said, I think I'm going to have him come on and do that one day.
That'll be cool.
And we'll just talk, and I'll be in the hot seat.
What made you want to start this?
Yeah, all that. Exactly. So, and now that'll be a 3-hour podcast, just that in general.
Right.
But guys, I'm glad you could join us today. I got this camera here has gone down again, so I got to get that fixed. But anyways, having said that, thank you for joining us. This has been Marissa Mesiemore, and not Melissa or Missy. That's her mom. Guys, it's about that time, and we're gonna sign off. I don't know who's gonna be here next time, but join us. Don't forget to subscribe and like all the Facebook and YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, all those good things. And we'll see you next time. It's about that time.
Thanks,
see
guys.
ya.